Of these tariffs, our economy will enter a recession later this year or early next year. He says price increases from tariffs as they are now will stick around for at least 2 years. Ballin Overstoles, KTAR News.
And now a check on traffic. Here's John Roller live from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
Thank you and good morning, Patricia. Still have heavy slowing coming into the valley. Westbound I-10 had a crash just north of Wild Horse Pass. That is still blocking the right lanes there. You're backed up all the way to the 347. New crash coming in the West Valley. Eastbound I-10 right at the 91st Avenue underpass. Working crashes 44th Street and Camelback. Union Hills and Central Avenue. A crash in North Phoenix. And still a serious crash in Tempe this morning at the Rio Salado Parkway and the Price Freeway, the Loop 101. Traffic is brought to you by MistingMasters.com. Enjoy your backyard this summer by installing misters or fog systems. Get a free quote at MistingMasters.com. Your retreat from the heat. John Roller, KTAR News.
Today, partly cloudy skies, a high of 71 degrees. We've got a 10% chance of rain sticking around. It's 54 degrees right now in Surprise. Weather brought to you by Howard Air and Plumbing. Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air and Plumbing. I'm Patricia Valencia on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
It's Joe Huizenga, and Arizona joined a multi-state lawsuit this week to stop the Trump administration from pulling billions of dollars in public health funding. If it goes through, what effect would it have on the state? Find out today at 2 on the next Chris and Joe Show.
All right, I want to invite you to check out our podcast, Amazing Arizonans. We drop a new episode each Wednesday. Yesterday, the big one we dropped is with my friend, CEO of Mountainside Fitness, Tom Hatton. Tom Hatton started an industry, an empire in an industry, tough to get into, the fitness industry. Opened up his first gym. He tells the story of almost losing that very first gym and how he climbed out of that and into great success. Also fighting against the shutdowns of the government, got him politically engaged and motivated during the shutdowns during COVID. Compelling story, very good man, very great story, and another one of our Amazing Arizonans. So please check it out anywhere you download podcasts. Just look for the Amazing Arizonans podcast. And if you already have the KTAR News app on your phone, you can find them there. And we always thank our friends at Resolution Copper. Resolution Copper jumped on board as our title sponsor so we can continue to tell these stories. So thank you so much to Resolution Copper. I want you to hear the Treasury Secretary talking about the agenda of the president and for working class Americans.
One, we're seeing the CEO of Walmart is pushing back on his Chinese suppliers, and he is telling them they have to eat all the tariff increases. They're the largest retailer in America. I think 40 million Americans go into Walmart every week. We saw in Trump 1.0, prices didn't go up, and if we have that happening at the same time, we are able to use that income to provide President Trump's tax agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, and making auto interest deductible for American cars. That's a home run for working class Americans.
And when you listen to them say it that way, it sounds very reasonable. Wall Street still responding very negatively. Although the Dow's improved a little bit, it's still a mess. It is down 3.28% at 1385, down 1,385 points. Just under 4% on the S&P at 222, and still at about 5% at 891. A little bit of moderation from their lows of this morning, but a long day ahead. And I think investors are, Wall Street's going to be a rough place for the next couple of days. I played earlier Speaker Johnson saying the expectation is Wall Street is going to respond this way. It's going to level out and recover, and we'll see. Again, this is, if you're a supporter of this administration, you love what's coming, and we talked about that. If you are a detractor, you hate this, and it's just a horrible, horrible thing. I look at this, and I think it's so strange to me. Because it's a two-way street. This doesn't just affect the U.S. economy. It's going to affect the economies of other nations. So how are those nations responding? Because it's not a one-way street. Some of the countries targeted by Trump tariffs are seeking negotiations already. China says there's no winner in a trade war. It's strange. The Ontario Premier, Doug Ford, who has talked kindly about President Trump, said he's cautiously optimistic and encouraging the Canadian people to not get into a retaliatory mode and to deal with the U.S., although now the new Canadian Prime Minister is saying that they will fight. So we'll see how this all, again, this is how does this play out in the minds of the American people? Right now, I don't blame people. I'm nervous. Everybody should be a little bit nervous. This is tough. If you have a 401k, if you are someone that's retired and you're watching a 3% dip on Wall Street right now at the Dow and 5%, a flat 5% right now on NASDAQ and the NASDAQ, people are concerned. I believe in the American economy and that it will always recover, but that doesn't mean that there aren't rocky times. This president has had and is enjoying massive success, in my opinion, when it comes to the border issue and dealing with border security. But he promised a new economy. He promised a better economy, and they're going to have to pay off, or they're going to pay a big price. I mean, Republicans will pay a big price in the midterm elections. We are going to see how this all plays out. Coming up in a few moments, we are going to have a conversation with Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego. Senator Gallego is going to hold up Trump nominations for leadership at the VA until the president gets rid of the 87,000 with the layoffs at the VA. We'll have a conversation if this is actually going to work. Is this a political stunt, as others are saying? What does he wish to accomplish? And I'll ask him, does he believe that there is actually any kind of waste or any kind of inefficiency at the VA? We'll get to that coming up in a moment. Tombstone Tactical. Listen, coming up in just a couple of days, April 4th and 5th, Tombstone Tactical is bringing you a 2-day event of unbeatable prices on everything Smith & Wesson. So whether you're looking for a pistol, a revolver, a rifle, everything Smith & Wesson at the lowest prices of the year. One of the most iconic manufacturers in the world, and their lowest prices of the year with factory representatives on site so that you can ask all the questions you want, get answers, and buy whatever it is you need in the best prices you're going to find. All the major manufacturers, they've got gear, they've got accessories, they have ammunition, always in stock at great prices. And I love the customer service you get from Tombstone Tactical. It makes for a perfect experience. Check out this sales event, the 4th and the 5th. They are located on the southbound frontage road of the I-17 between Dunlap and Peoria. Just look for the light rail tracks where they cross over, or check them out online right now at tombstonetactical.com.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6580. That's 800-583-6580.
Who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need new rotors.
When you buy 2 Duralast rotors during our spring sale, you get Duralast brake pads free.
Free?
With the rotors.
Well, that's great. What if I need extra stopping power?
You can upgrade to Duralast Gold pads for just $10.
So Duralast pads are free?
Yep.
And an upgrade is just $10?
That's right. Part of the spring sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Every business has a purpose to inspire, a purpose to innovate, a purpose to serve. At SRP, our purpose is to power yours. From rebates for energy-efficient upgrades to money-saving programs, we help businesses of all sizes find reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy solutions. Discover the possibilities at savewithsrpbiz.com.
Call Doug Hopkins, 1-800-SALE now. Call Doug Hopkins, 1-800-SALE now.
I'm Doug Hopkins with My Home Group and DougHopkins.com, and I want to buy your house. If you're considering selling your home for any reason, do yourself a favor and let us show you how we can give you more. With no agent fees, no commissions, no repairs, and no showings, you can get a straightforward cash deal that you can close on in as little as 3 days. Other buyers may try to make you an offer without ever seeing your home. They may try to lower that offer or even cancel the deal after inspecting it. I will never do that. Our team will come out to your house and make you a fair as-is cash offer on the spot and will never cancel after the deal is signed for any reason. That's the Doug Hopkins difference. See for yourself why more people trust the Doug Hopkins team. Visit us today at DougHopkins.com or
call Doug Hopkins, 1-800-SALE now. Call Doug Hopkins, 1-800-SALE now.
KTAR News Flash.
At 8:44, I'm Patricia Valencia, and this is what you need to know right now. A bad morning on Wall Street is getting worse as markets react to the Trump administration's sweeping new tariffs. The Dow has plummeted, the Nasdaq is down, and the S&P has lost more than $1.5 trillion in value so far in early trading. Companies with big manufacturing operations in China like Nike and Apple especially hit hard. Taking a live look at Wall Street right now, the Dow is down 1,336 points, the S&P 500 down 213 points, and the Nasdaq is down 851 points. All of our top stories are just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app. And now a check on traffic. Here's John Roller live in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
Heavy slowing coming into town westbound I-10 from a crash just north of Wild Horse Pass. Lean to the left, and a crash eastbound I-10 right near the 91st Avenue underpass. That crash is now off to the right. John Roller, KTAR News.
Strong values and strong opinions. The Mike Broomhead Show. KTAR News, 92.3 FM, and the KTAR News app.
Reading from a press release, Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego announced that he will place a blanket hold on all nominations to the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs following the news of the Trump administration's plans to eliminate 83,000 jobs from the VA. So he has been kind enough to join us. Senator, it's good to talk to you again.
Hey, how you doing?
Very well. I know that one thing we share passionately is a care for the veterans that have served this country. I know we share that deeply. But we may disagree on some other issues. Do you believe that this is going to be detrimental? Obviously you do, but what areas will this be detrimental to the VA?
Well, my biggest concern is that we're not getting enough information to really make determinations about that. So I'll give you a good example. Right now there's a memo that went out to the Phoenix VA. The Phoenix VA hospital that actually has had a lot of problems, like long wait times, people dying while waiting for services. And they said that they want them to put a 15% cut in place and have everybody out, the 15% they're going to cut of employees by June. Who are these people? What are the services they provide? How's this going to affect wait times? You know, we've already seen some horrible mistakes, for example, of the Veteran Crisis Hotline being shut down, something that we were, working hard in bipartisan manner for so many years to build up so people or veterans, when they feel they need to call someone to avoid suicide, someone there picks up. And right now we're seeing that, that there's been shutdowns of that critical program. So this is one of the few tools I have to basically slow them down, make them explain themselves, and potentially save critical services. It's not the jobs that matter. It's the services that these jobs provide. And, this is one of the things that I want the VA administrator to explain more.
And going back to the days of the late Senator John McCain and working on that issue when it was initially the crisis of the VA, a lot of it had to do with bureaucracy. And if these cuts were to bureaucracy but not to services, would they be acceptable to you?
Oh, absolutely. Look, you can always find, and no matter what organization, government, nonprofits, business, there's always bureaucracy, there's always bloat. And if you could find it and cut it surgically while at the same time saving services, that's a good thing. Now you have to remember, what does this look like though? This is the largest healthcare organization in the world. You have veterans and nurses and assistants that we're trying to recruit from the private sector. So when we're doing this, we have to do this in a smart way to make sure we continue to recruit top-notch staff, that they stay with us, and that we aren't arbitrarily cutting and then going back and trying to rehire people, which, by the way, this administration has done, because that's when you start discouraging people from looking at the VA as a career option.
Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego joining us. Have you had any conversations with the administration since you put out this press release? Have they given you any information on these layoffs? Are they haphazard or are they targeted? Do you have any information at all?
Right now, not just me, but no one within the United States Senate, Democratic or Republican, has received a report or a plan of how these cuts are happening, who is going to be cut, how this is going to work out, how this is not going to impact services. All we know is that there's 83,000 cuts that are coming. They're trying to roll back the amount of employees to the 2019 levels. The reason that concerns a lot of us, because as you know, and I think you're a big advocate for this, we work to expand the toxic burn pit exposure, something that affected a lot of us Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. And in a bipartisan manner, Democrats and Republicans voted that bill in, and that actually brought in more men and women into the VA. 2019 essentially means that we're rolling back toxic burn pit act, and it means that you're going to have less staff, even though we're adding more and more veterans, because we actually encourage them to come and get help because of their exposure.
So this is where I'm a little bit confused, because is the directive going to the Phoenix VA that says you need to make a 15% cut, and then leadership at the VA has to then decide what 15% gets cut, or are they being directed to make cuts in other areas?
So it's two things. Number one, there is an $83,000 nationwide, $83,000 VA employee cut that has been ordered by this administrator. The local Phoenix VA itself has been ordered to trim 15% of its employee base, without any details, without any idea of what this impacts the services. We are waiting to hear what that is. They didn't say specifically, we want you to cut 10% from, x-rays, 10% from maintenance. All they said was cut 15%. We did not get enough information what that is, how that's going to look, and how that's going to affect services. And this is why I'm doing whatever I can to get answers so we can make a good determination how this is going to impact veterans.
So you're looking for answers from two places, from the administration on things, but also from the VA and what they would anticipate. If they're being mandated to cut 15%, are they going to have to make cuts to services, or can they cut 15% from bureaucracies and other things that are outside of patient care, and you want things to slow down until you have those answers? Absolutely, because once you make these cuts, you're not going to get them back necessarily, right? If you fire people, it's hard to get some of these people back. Because, let's be honest, a lot of them are going to be hurt. They're going to be looking to private sector to go find jobs. And at the same time, you're dealing with, real lives here. And I'm not talking, in a theoretical manner. I have used the Phoenix VA for services. I got my knee redone there after my time in the military. I've got PTSD treatment there, all this stuff. When you have these lags in terms of resources, in terms of staffing, that affects the veteran, right, and the services that they seek. So you need to tell us what you're doing, what the plan is, and then we could determine whether it's a good idea or not. And at the same time, we still hold the power of the purse. We appropriate money to the VA. If we're saying that we want you to
to staff at this level and use at this level, then I think we have a right to do that as U.S. senators.
But are you open-minded to the fact that cuts can be made, that if they come to you with a reasonable answer where things can be cut, that services can remain strong, but inefficiency can be cut? Are you open to some of those cuts?
Certainly. But, the thing that we have to understand is, where did this begin, right? How do we get to the point where did the number 15% and 83,000 employees come from?
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to solve the problem and say that overall we need to find more efficiencies and get rid of bureaucracy, then to start, you start actually looking and finding it and then cutting it. Right now, they're just putting an arbitrary number and then going out there and trying to find the cuts. That's where it gets dangerous.
My last question is a little off of this topic, if you don't mind weighing in on the tariffs and the announcement from the president yesterday and the reaction today on Wall Street and what you see potentially happening in the future.
Look, tariffs are a tool. It can be used in a very smart way for our industrial and economic policies, but you have to do it effectively. I was very proud with other Democrats and Republicans to work on the renegotiation of NAFTA many years ago under the first Trump administration. That was done in a manner that I think ended up benefiting the United States and our partners north and south of us. When you're just trying to do these things in such a haphazard manner, just throwing out by the random numbers about what other countries need to do in order to avoid tariffs, you're going to cause a lot of disruption, and that's what you're seeing on the stock market right now. You're seeing a lot of companies that are going to start looking for new markets besides us. I think prices are going to go up in the meantime for us, because there's going to be a lot of things that we just don't make right now, and we won't for a while, because it takes a while to start a factory, retool, get people trained up. And, at the end of the day, this is essentially a big tax increase for consumers. And it's going to end up having a big impact when it comes to people being able to afford everyday goods. And I think, we're all going to end up being a poor country for it in the meantime.
Senator, I appreciate the time. I hope you'll come back more often. I love these conversations, and I think the listeners get educated by your positions on these things.
Well, thank you for giving me the time, and hope everyone has a good day.
All right, thanks. That is Senator Ruben Gallego spending a few moments with us. We are obviously going to take this topic up here again in just a few moments. Let's talk Bulldog security screens for just a moment. Real home protection. I can't stress that enough. Protecting your home and the property inside it and the people you love. Sleeping all night